It is our next level talent segment on Kansas Sports Chatter, an opportunity to talk to former high school athletes that are from the state of Kansas that are now competing at a college or university in the state of Kansas. And today's guest, Will Anciaux, a member of the Kansas State University football team and out of Kapaun Mt Carmel High School. Hey, Will, appreciate your time. How's the Manhattan life treating you?
Hey, thanks for having me. And Manhattan's been great. I'm loving it up here. It's been a great start to the football season and school year, and just having a great time.
Well, rewind a few years and going back to Kapaun Mt Carmel. What was that playing experience like with the Crusaders?
Man, I love my time at Capon. It was a blast there. I love playing with all my buddies that I grew up with. I really enjoyed playing under Coach Sharks for 3 years there at Capon, and it really just felt like my game and my love for the game expanded in my time there. And couldn't be more grateful and thankful for the opportunities that my time there gave me, and all the friendships and relationships that I built while I was there.
With all that talent in that Wichita area, how rewarding was it to get some of those city championships?
It was pretty rewarding. We had some tough games, and for a while there, my freshman year, we struggled a little bit. My sophomore year, obviously with COVID, we didn't really get a chance to play much of a city league schedule. But going into my junior year, we had a lot of good talent on the team, and being able to compete with the other schools and get a city league title under there was a lot of fun, and it felt good, and something that me and my friends really we worked a lot towards, and we're happy to get that done.
Well, you mentioned that junior year, a lot of success and a lot of talent. You guys go 10-2. You fought Mays in that sub-state ball game or the Final Four. What do you remember from that ball game? I know it was a thriller, 22-21.
Yeah, that was a crazy game. It was a bunch of fun until up until the very end.
Sure.
Uh, but I mean, Mays was a great team that year. Obviously, having Avery at quarterback, he's a hell of a football player, and glad to have him on my team now and not have to play against him anymore. But it was a really good game. Both teams back and forth the whole time up until that last 2-point conversion there at the end. So it was a tough fought game, and tough way to end the year, but it was a fun season that I had with all my friends, and I really remember a lot and had a lot of good memories.
Now I know Mays eventually went on to fall that year in the championship game, but did you ever talk to, Avery and just say, "Hey man, you cost me a state championship my junior season?"
We've talked a little bit about it, and one of my roommates actually now is from Mill Valley, and he was on that team that played against Avery in that state championship game, and he always jokes with me, thinking that we would have had a better game with them that year, than we might have matched up a little better with them. But we've talked about it a little bit.
What was the recruiting process like for you and why'd you end up on K-State?
The recruiting process for me was pretty smooth, to be honest. I picked up some interest after my sophomore year of high school that season, and had some offers from some KU, K State, Nebraska, some local areas, not too far from around here, and just throughout the process, Kansas State really stuck out to me with, the culture they have here, all the people within the program, the coaches. It was a perfect place for me, and Manhattan's awesome. I love being here in Manhattan. It's not too far from my family, and it gives me a chance to grow as both a football player and a man. So those are really things that I was looking for, and K State had them all.
Redshirting your first season there in Manhattan, what was that experience like for you and what'd you learn?
Yeah, my true freshman year when I redshirted, I think it was a really pivotal year for me. I needed that time to develop physically. I came in and I was weighing like around 220 ish, and I know I needed to put on some weight in order to get to a spot where I could hold my own and compete against the guys that I was going to be playing against. So that year was really important for me, and my weight gain and strength gain wise. And then also just becoming closer with all of my teammates and the guys in my class. That year was really big on that for me, being able to strengthen those bonds with them, and also just learning the playbook, getting more time on task with that, learning things and the different nuances of how to do stuff. So I think that year was great, and I'm glad that I was able to take that redshirt year to set me up for success later on.
How difficult is that as far as learning a playbook? I mean, I think a lot of people, especially most folks that don't really recognize the complexity of picking up a certain playbook. Like for you, what were some of those challenges and how did you master that?
Yeah, obviously there's a lot that goes into it. I think at the tight end position too, there's quite a bit that you have to know, probably almost second to the quarterback, really, having to know both all the run game and the pass game stuff. So there's a lot that goes into it, especially with the different schemes and and all that. Just really like learning like who you're working with on certain run blocks, what different routes look like and different versus different coverages, like how you'd have to run it against man, how you'd see it against a cover three and a cover two, stuffs like that. So it took a long time, and just having other guys in the room that had a lot of experience around me was very helpful. Just kind of picking their brains on things, learning off of watching them do stuff. So it's a difficult task, but when you've got support around you, it makes it a lot easier.
Will Anciaux joining us here from K-State football and out of Kapaun Mt Carmel High School. You mentioned, kind of in your recruiting process, being close, Manhattan, not too far away from the Wichita area for your family. So, like, how much family do you have at games? What's a game day like there at Bill Snyder?
I've got a ton of family at games. I'm very blessed. It's awesome. I've got at most home games, I've got both sets of my grandparents there. I've got pretty much my entire family most of the time. So that's mom, dad, and my five siblings. So I've got quite the crowd there, and every now and then I'm able to have some aunt, uncles, and cousins join along too. So I've got a great support staff. I love them all, and not support staff, but support group, and a great support system. And I love them all, and I'm glad they can be there to watch me and have those moments too.
Then on the other side, I guess, Will, like, what's the most intense place to play on the road so far in the Big 12 in your career?
Man, one that really sticks out to me was last year at BYU. That place was intense. It was jumping. It was a really late game. I think it was like an 11 o'clock kickoff Central Time, 11 p.m. So it was like a 9 o'clock game there even, and it was a late game, and I think it was a whiteout for them. I remember running out of the tunnel, all the lights were off, everyone had their phones out and waving them around. There's like fire columns shooting out of out of the stadium, and it was an intense atmosphere. It was really cool. It was really neat. The backdrop of that stadium was already amazing, and just everything on top of that was nuts. And it got loud in there too, so that was a cool environment. Wish we could have had a different result that game, but it was a cool environment to play in.
Does that ever sink into you? I mean, like, being a guy from Wichita, growing up in the Wichita area, and then like here you are, playing for K State, and going on the road in Big 12 games. Like, does that ever sink in yet for you? Like, how what an accomplishment that is.
I try and do my best to, take some deep breaths whenever I can before the games, really, just soak it all in. I'm blessed to be in a position where I am to be able to travel around and see these different places and, use the talents that I've been given to, travel around and go play football games and however many different states I've been to. So I really just try and take some deep breaths everywhere I go and, soak it in and, enjoy the moment that I'm in and be where my feet are.
Well, your Cape and Mount Carmel Crusaders are one of the favorites to win Class 4A this year. Do you feel pretty good about their chances?
I do, yeah, I do feel good about them. I got my little brother is on the team this year. He's a senior, so I love keeping up with him and follow along whenever I can. And I made it down to a game last bye week. Unfortunately, I can't make it over to St. James this week to go watch him, but I love talking to him and following their success. And they got some dudes on the team, and Coach Sharts, I know he'll always have them ready. So
Hey, Will, appreciate it. Best of luck the rest of the season.
thank you, appreciate it.
That is Will Anciaux, member of the Kansas State University football team and out of Cape and Mount Carmel High School.